Tonight on Golden Eagles Live, the volleyball team takes control of the PSAC West and the PSAC overall with a win over Gannon. The football team loses its 6th straight, and the soccer team's year comes to an end. The wrestling team begins its season. Plus, we'll preview the upcoming year for the men's and women's basketball teams and give our reaction to what we heard at Media Day. Golden Eagles Live starts right now. And good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. Matt Catrillo here with you as always, and joining me is Anthony Fiuza, the Fuse.
Yeah, man, popping and locking and dropping. That's what we're doing right here on this show. Ready to call all things Clarion.
And you know what? The basketball teams are getting ready to do that as we had Media Day today up at GEL in room 146, so we'll get a recap of that coming up in the next couple blocks. But first, let's recap what else we saw in Clarion Golden Eagles sports this week, and starting with volleyball, Fiuza, as they take control of the PSAC West and the PSAC overall with a come-from-behind 3-2 win over Gannon after falling to Mercyhurst 3-2 the night before. 27-3 overall and second overall in the Atlantic region poll, the first one that just came out right behind Wheeling Jesuit. So, Anthony, in a little bit of probably the most adverse times we've seen so far coming down the stretch for the Golden Eagles in this 7-game road trip, and then they finish up at home against Edinburgh on Saturday. The freshmen been tested, and they come up strong, and now they have control of the whole conference and the division.
Yeah, it's one of those things, Matt, where they're getting contributions from everybody. They're continuing to keep plays alive, and then they're doing a great job of playing good team ball. Again, like I said, keeping drives alive, playing good defense, going up and blocking shots, and they're really doing it with a lot of just great poise, and they're making it through here currently right now.
Yeah, Taylor Bronigal, Laura Subject had 70 set assists in the game against Gannon, so she stepped up strong. And like I said, all the freshmen have stepped up strong. And looking ahead, we most likely will have a playoff game here at Tibbin Gymnasium Tuesday night for the first round of the PSAC playoffs. Clarion, of course, the #1 seed overall, and so they would also host the entire PSAC playoffs because this year in the PSAC it shuffles on and off each year. The highest seeding team in the West this year hosts the entire PSAC playoffs, so that being Clarion right now, that's what they would do. Last year it was Shippensburg, so Clarion could be hosting it all the way, which is really cool to see. And we'll preview the rest of the matchups they have for the end of the regular season later on in the show. Next we go to football, Anthony, and not much else to say about this team as they fall 31-0 to IUP, their 6th straight loss. But I will be honest, though, Anthony, after the showing that the Golden Eagles gave against CalU last week here at home, I honestly thought that they would have a decent chance to win this game. And I thought this would be a close, ugly game because IUP hasn't been playing up to their standards this year. But we didn't see that at all in offense. -4 yards rushing, and so the rushing game continues to struggle. Offense continues to struggle. It was just ugly Saturday.
Yeah, you are what you are at this point in the season, Matt. It's one of those things where nothing's going right. You got to wonder, do you change things up? And the main thing is, if you're going to change things up, how do you do that? Because you're not getting any production, a lot of production from your offense, and you said -4 yards. Speaks for itself.
Yeah, and even in the passing game, it was getting better. We saw a lot of flashes of that the last couple of weeks, especially in the game against CalU, and you really didn't even see that. You had a couple big splash plays here and there, but that was about it, and just starting with the pick 6 that IUP got right off the bat. Yeah,
it's just ugly. Again, turnovers. It's one of those things where you got to wonder, what's going on? What's going on in the preparation? Should they change things up? Defensively, they can only keep you in the game for so long until you shoot yourselves in the foot, like Clarion has multiple times. Lack of production, turnovers, and even maintaining the ball for a long period of time.
Exactly, turnovers, and not only 3rd down percentage, 4th down percentage, that's been a killer for Clarion this year. So the struggles continue as they come home now for the final 2 regular season games of the year. They have the Milk Jug game on Saturday against Slippery Rock before they host Kutztown for Senior Day the week after. So we'll see if Clarion is able to get a win the rest of the way. And now we go to women's soccer as they finish their season 3-11-2 with 11 points. They lose on senior night 4-1 to Gannon. So year 1 under new coach Sean Esterhazen in the books, Anthony. first, your thoughts on how the game went on Saturday.
Game went again. Struggled on offense. Again, you put Saucel in your defense in tough situations. It's going to be tough to gain any type of flow throughout the game, and that's the main thing I noticed. Just the flow. There was energy, of course, before the game, senior night, all the festivities there, but all in all, the season itself just disappointing, and only 3 wins to show for it.
At this point, Anthony, we all sound like a broken record because in soccer, you can't score. If you can't score, you can't win games. And offense has plagued this team since I've been here, since you've been here, and it continued to struggle this year. Now, one question I will ask this, and we asked this at the beginning of the year. Of course, we know Coach Esther Hazen was hired late coming into the year in July. Not much time to put things together. Only 3 wins to show for it this year, 11 points total. Quickly, your thoughts, if you thought the late hire had any effect this season, because I obviously think it did.
I think it did, but again, this just shows, the studiousness, the collective work, this type of thing. We'll talk about it later on with basketball, but the late hires, that'll have some effect. But again, that should be a challenge that you welcome, that you put together and put your best foot forward every single week. And of course, it was hard to watch.
And we'll finish off now, Anthony, with wrestling as they began their season on Sunday with the Clarion Open. Zackrell finishing second, Sutherland finishing third. Daniel Sutherland winning his bout in the blue and gold match last week, so he keeps things strong for himself. But pretty decent showing to start for the wrestling team. Yeah,
exactly what you want. Losing some top-notch guys from last year, just good start. Obviously, some things to build on, and this is a good model going forward. That hey, we lost some of our better guys, but we can still bring in some of the better ones as well.
And of course, the wrestling team beginning their new season under interim head coach Keith Ferrero after Troy Letters resigned just a week or two before the beginning of the regular season this year. Coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live, Anthony's talked about it, I talked about it at the beginning of the show. We're finally going to give our recap of Clarion Golden Eagles Media Day for the men's and women's basketball teams. We'll recap what we thought, plus a little season preview coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live.
Hey, I'm Anderson Cooper. As a parent, you want to make sure that your child knows how to deal with bullying when they see it happening. And chances are they want to help, but they don't really know how. Well, teach them that the best thing to do is calmly walk away, find a teacher or other adult, and speak up. And do your part. Be that adult they can talk to and trust will listen. Join me to help stop bullying. Go to stopbullying.gov to find out more.
Can't find your one-of-a-kind ingredient? Looking to challenge your appetite with exotic flavor? Your search ends at 6th and Main's unique array of groceries and ingredients. Specializing in the not-so-widely available, 6th and Main is Clarion's supplier of the striking tastes that shape a stylish palate. With their varied styles and unmatched selection, 6th and Main has got the taste you have only dreamt about. Let your taste run wild at 6th and Main.
I got no pulse, we're losing him.
Sergeant, he's in VFib.
Shock him.
Drives it real all the time. Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear.
You just buzzed.
Just buzzed. You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right, this isn't happening. He'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really?
No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shock him.
Hey, I'm Anderson Cooper.
Welcome back to Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. Matt Catrillo here with you. We're rejoined by Anthony Fiuza, and let's get to it now. We recap Media Day today at Gemmel before the men's and women's basketball teams as they begin their seasons next Friday. The women traveling to Institute, West Virginia for a 2-game season opener, and the men will travel to Shippensburg for a 2-game season opener next weekend. So first we're going to start with the men, and Anthony, with the late hire, Coach Williams squeezing everything in as he was just hired really last week. And here are his thoughts on how him and the team have been adjusting to that, him and sophomore guard, B.J. Andrews.
I think everything is actually going smooth. I think the guys really want to be successful, and when you have that buy-in with your team, and the coaches are just able to coach. We don't have to worry about, like I said, guys showing up late, guys messing around in class, guys messing around on campus. All the coaches have to do is really worry about the X's and O's and getting it done, and it's been a blessing for us.
So Coach Williams been impressed actually with the start so far. Here's what B.J. Andrews thought.
Coach does a good job with, he'll videotape practice, and I'll be able to go and watch practice at night and see the things we're doing and what we're trying to get out of each set. So, there's a couple of different ways that I try to do it, but, he does a good job with not overloading us like he said, but, getting everything in that needs to be in.
So encouraging signs to hear, Anthony, considering, again, we talking about the late hirings with Coach Esterhazy in soccer, and, this is probably the latest we've seen ever. You have a head coach who's just about ready for his season at Penn State Beaver, which is where Coach Williams is coming from, and then all of a sudden he gets hired at a Division II school, and he's got to throw everything together in a week and a half, and then you get ready for your first game.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I'm still preparing. I'm still learning right now. We talked to him at the conference, and he's like, we're still getting things around. I may have to move again. And he just got here. So it's one of those things where this will affect the team in that they have to be more studious. They have to be even more, with all things last second, you got to be quick and ready to grasp all things. You have to try to memorize certain things the best you can. And even, just trying to pick up these big concepts even faster. And that's what this young team's going to have to deal with.
And you saw that, an example of that from B.J. Andrews saying, always watching the film, they're always taping everything. Even B.J. was telling me, too, he was diagramming plays and then just going over the, little things like that is exactly what this team is going to need. And Coach Williams has praised the smartness of this team. This team, I think, has one of the highest GPAs out of all the teams this year. And that's what he commented on that. He complimented Aaron Johnson, a kid from Princeton. So you're seeing that around the team, which is good. It's obviously going to be needed. So overall, Anthony, though, how do you think this will affect the season?
It won't. The last second type of hire won't affect this team too much. I think they'll be ready to go. You'll have time in between games to get even more familiar. They love Marcus Williams, and they're uniting. They're united right now, and you gotta love that. The chemistry's there, the focus is there. These kids are smart, and again, they're ready to go. So I don't think this will hurt them at all. It's mainly the gameplay. Absolutely,
and you can clearly see the team buying into Coach Williams' system, and you saw that they were just flowing off each other during the press conference today. And the one thing that they're proudly showing is the phrase "all in," and they have it on the back of their warm-up jerseys this year. Here's B.J. Andrews explaining what that means.
We're family. We've grown together, and when Coach wasn't here, from like first time we stepped on campus and even to now, we'll go out somewhere and get food on a Friday night, and you'll see 12 or 13 guys. That wasn't how it was the last couple years up there. So, it's definitely a new type of style and a new beginning, I guess to say, for Clarion basketball.
So it's definitely something that's been missing, Anthony. I think for the couple of years that we've been here, you and I have clearly seen that, and I would say it probably had its play on the court. And so definitely the team chemistry will be huge, especially when you're trying to throw everything together all at once.
Yeah, these guys, this is exactly what you need to start off a season with a new coach, a new group of guys coming in, quite a bit of new guys. Boo Samuelson transferring from Mercyhurst to come over here and play some ball. So, yeah, this is what you want, guys working together, buying in, being united. And, again, like you said, hopefully that translate onto the court in a positive manner. I believe it will.
Yeah, I think so too, Anthony. It's very encouraging to see, but as Coach alluded to during the press conference today, enough talk, and we got to now show it on the court, and I think so too. And my biggest question that still remains to be seen, it's kind of difficult to ask that now because they're not in this situation yet, but they definitely will be this year, especially trying to throw everything together and learn as the season goes on, because that's just what they're going to have to do. That's their situation, and that's dealing with the first of the adverse times. If a losing streak comes, which I'm sure it will, that's where I'm curious to see how strong this team chemistry actually will be.
Yeah, and they got to look to their veterans. You got to look at Boo Samuelson, even his transfer. He's been around the game a while here in college. Look at Aaron Johnson as well, smart kid. He's well poised, well mannered as well. So you got to look to your veterans in terms of that. So I believe they'll be able to do that as well. Of course, Coach Al, he's still there, this assistant coach.
And he's been a real key factor in keeping everybody together, keeping the rest of the upperclassmen together, so that has been key as well for the men's team. And, of course, Anthony, when it comes to a new coaching staff, trying to shove everyone around to try and fit the system, always you're going to see that happening. Coach Williams talked about trying to develop that new starting five.
We play so many different people. You know, it's we have a sprint drill in practice where they sprint for 3 minutes. And the reason why we do it is because in the games they play for 3 minutes. You know, 3-4 minutes, and then we're subbing.
And you know, Anthony, talking about the late hire, this is what's going to be so tough. You know, trying to not only to teach the guys, you know, this is what we're all about. This is what we're going to try and do, but actually fit them and try to create that chemistry. And you know, there's the time limit certainly is not going to help, I would think.
No, it won't at all. It's one of those things where it's not ideal to have mix and match lineups and a brand new lineup every day or every other day or every third day, but it may be necessary. I mean, again, if they go off to a slow start, the last thing they want to do is lose. I mean, we saw it there. They talked about it, and B.J. Andrews and the guys there, they want to win now. They want to win so badly, so it's one of those things where, you know, that might be necessary with a fresh set of new faces.
And that's, again, will come down to the team chemistry when things aren't going so well right now. But, again, I guess we talked about this having an effect on the season, the late hire. But the chemistry, to me, I would think, I know you want to try and fit everybody in as best as you can and continue to see that in game action. But at some point, you're going to have to create a starting five so they can build that chemistry, or you really won't win games.
Right, exactly right. You need that cohesion on the court, and with that starting lineup, you need to develop that, and then hopefully off the court they can develop some more practice habits for the defensive side of the ball as well, because that was a huge problem for them last year. Again, that cohesion, helpful, especially on defense.
Now, Anthony, we've been talking about all these factors for the men's team this year. What, to you, are a couple other keys for a successful season?
Number one, you got to protect that basketball. It's the main thing, and also just make sure the penalties are at a minimum. You want to be aggressive, but be smart.
Exactly, and turnovers were an issue for both teams, really, for last year, and also free throws will be critical as well. Coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live, we'll switch things to the women's team and recap what we heard at Media Day. That's coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Longing for a unique taste and a relaxed atmosphere? Look no further than 6th and Main Marketplace in downtown Clarion. With a menu to satisfy a chic palate, 6th and Main has a taste of the Strip District without the long trip home. Accompanying the food is a complement of gourmet sodas and ice creams, a fully stocked deli, delicious breads, and delectable desserts. 6th and Main offers dine-in service with a relaxed atmosphere, which will leave a distinct impression.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you were really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov.
Welcome back to Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. Matt Catrillo here with you again with Anthony Fiuza as we now go to the women's basketball team as we recap what we heard at Media Day today up at Gemmel and start to preview the season as both teams open up their seasons next weekend and Wheeling in West Virginia for the women's team, Shippensburg for the men's team. So going to the women's team now, Anthony, this is another team that, like the men's team, was picked last to finish in the PSAC West coaches poll. Coach Jana Ashley with some strong words in response to that.
We really don't care that we got picked last. We're going to focus on ourselves. We're going to get better every day. You know, last year's in the past. These girls got close to making the playoffs last year. I know it's in the back of their minds, but right now we're thinking forward.
Certainly a bold statement from Coach Ashley, Anthony, but I like it.
Yeah, I like it. It's exactly what you want to hear your coach say. She's determined. She's ready to roll. She's not worried about the outsiders or any potential distractions.
And I think that's good to kind of see, a good young, high-energy coach take control of this team, because after 25 years of having Coach Guy Parsons here, and granted, she had a great career here. Probably she was one of the winningest head coaches in school history, along with Coach Ryder as well. But it was time for that breath of fresh air, and you're clearly seeing that with the high energy that you're seeing now from Coach Ashley. And a statement like that kind of lights a fire under the team a little bit, and I think that's pretty critical as well. And of course, all the players buying into it as well. Impressive what Coach Ashley brings. Of course, a lot of Division I experience for her as a coach at Iona. Hannah Heater talked about what she brings to the table.
Her sets and like the offensive side, they're really good. So I think that has helped. I think she's brought that from her experience before and just different presses, and she knows so much about like what if this happens, this happens. You know what I mean? Like just cause and effect and that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty excited about it, that she has that experience and that she's going to give that to us as well and give us hopefully a leg up in the PSAC.
Division I talent with the Division II label, and to me, having a Division I coach with that experience, at least coaching against Division I talent that you see here and there around the conference, I think will give Clarion a huge edge moving forward. Yeah, the mentality is there, exactly what you want. That system is being developed, and she has the weapons to do it. A lot of speed, and I like Tanea Holmes to do better this year than last year, and Hannah Heater is definitely going to contribute as well. And expect a lot of passing. I mean, this is a real grounded bunch, really disciplined, and I want to see that when it comes down to like key situations as well, and how they handle penalties and turnovers. And of course, Tanea Holmes was a member of the press conference here today, and Coach Ashley talked about how she's going to have to step up and be a vocal leader this year. She's kind of has that kind of a timid personality. Didn't really say a whole lot today at the press conference, but she certainly will be critical. She had her own turnover issues as well, so she'll definitely be fully critical in the offense. Yeah, and she said she's going to be playing more of the two in this new system as well, and she certainly learned and watched a lot of ball from Kelly Johnson, who she's seen up close, and also Raven Jones, who just graduated last year. Now going back to Hannah Heater there for a second there, Anthony, she can focus now on just one sport after graduating last year. She still has a fifth-year eligibility for basketball after joining in her sophomore year, so she can fully focus on that, and she talked about what a difference it's made.
I feel a lot more in basketball shape because there's a big difference to me. Volleyball's a lot of like short spurts and not really cardio, and like this, I feel like it took me like 2 weeks to get back into basketball shape kind of thing. So I think it'll be nice starting out already being focused on that sport and not worrying about anything else. So I'm expecting my game to be a lot better just from having preseason. So I'm excited about that.
And I think at times, Anthony, she did show that wear and tear, especially late in the season, but she still pushed through it to be one of the best, if not the best player in all the PSAC. So dare we say, is it possible to see her that she can be even better than what we've seen the last couple of years?
I don't. I'm gonna say it's possible, but I would lean more toward the likeliness of it happening. No, because again, a lot of new players, a lot of young players, new system. Everyone's still trying to get that cohesion. It's going to take a little while, and that might hurt her production in terms of her getting the ball, which may lead to some turnovers and uncharacteristic mistakes.
And she was also asked about, what kind of production that she hopes to bring this year. She's 18 points away from 1,000 for her career, so she most likely will get that milestone early on. Hopefully it happens here at home. It was cool to see with Emma Fickle get in 1,000 last year towards the latter part of the season. So hopefully you'll see that. But, she even talked about because you have all these younger players, she's trying to show them how to play college basketball and all that.
Yeah, she's doing a good job of that. She's taken a lot of them under her wing, like she had mentioned in the conference. And you got to love that from your leader. She's such a non-selfish player. She didn't even know she was 18 away from 1,000. So, I mean, she's ready to rock and roll. She's buying in, and I'm expecting good things from them, especially later on as the season goes on.
Now, Anthony, like we talked about with the men's team, same thing with the women's team. When you have a new coach, you're going to see players being shuffled around to see how they fit into the system. And Coach Ashley saying the starting 5 most likely will be a game day decision and one in practice.
We have some upperclassmen with experience that have stepped up and have shown that they're being consistent in practice. If that consistency continues, they will be in that 5. We've got some young kids who are still battling for time, and I think right now competition in practice is going to show us who those 5 are going to be on game day.
And of course, that's exactly what you would want to see in determining your starting 5. But obviously, similar situation to what we're going to see from the men.
Yeah, and again, you want that starting 5. You want that that togetherness. You want to have that great familiarity, and hopefully they find it sooner rather than later, man. I mean, there's not much else you can say. I sound like a broken record, but again, you want to know where you guys are going to be at defensively and have that communication all set.
And last but not least here, Anthony, as we wrap up this part of the show, some keys to a successful year for the women.
Don't give opponents any easy buckets. And also, I'll throw a little bonus one in there. Play a complete game. We saw them start well in the first half, second half, sinks like the Titanic.
Totally agree with that.
And it's like, oh, all right, we need them to come back up out of the icebergs here, and hopefully they're able to do that.
And turnovers were a huge issue for this team last year, so obviously they have to control that. I asked Coach Ashley about that, and she said she's making consequences in practice for those turnovers, so that's something being emphasized. But obviously you can't turn the ball over in key games, as we saw during the latter stretch of the year, game against Cal U, Mercyhurst, etc. So we'll see if they can turn that around this year and see what we see from both these teams. It's going to be very exciting as we get these seasons underway next week. Coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live, Anthony and I will go back to all things Clarion sports and give our game predictions for this upcoming week. Coming up next here on Golden Eagles Live.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Longing for a unique taste and a relaxed atmosphere? Look no further than 6th and Main Marketplace in downtown Clarion. With a menu to satisfy a chic palate, 6th and Main has a taste of the Strip District without the long trip home. Accompanying the food is a complement of gourmet sodas and ice creams, a fully stocked deli, delicious breads, and delectable desserts. 6th and Main offers dine-in service with a relaxed atmosphere, which will leave a distinct impression.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you were really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov.
Welcome back to Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. Matt Catrillo here with you again with Anthony Fiuza, the Fuse. Yep. Let's get to it, Anthony. Rapid fire here. Our game predictions for this week in Clarion Sports, starting with football. Milk Jug game at home this week against Slippery Rock.
Going with Slippery Rock. I think their offense is just too hot.
I agree. I think Slippery Rock's one of the better teams in the PSAC West. Obviously, we talked about the struggles of the offense. I'll take Slippery Rock as well, 45-6. Let's go to volleyball as they finish up the regular season at Slippery Rock on Friday and then Edinburgh on Saturday.
I think they'll win them both. I'll say 3-2, 3-1. Respectively.
I agree. I think they win both as well. I will say both matches at 3-1. Clarion finishes the year 29-3, and then we get ready for the playoffs next week. Cross country's at the PSAC Championships at Mansfield.
If it's out of 19 teams, they'll finish 16th. If it's out of 12, they'll finish 11th.
I think somewhere around that territory, Anthony. It's been a tough year for them individually. I think we'll see good things from Mila Shaw. It's been a tough year for the women, for the cross country team, but they're young, they're growing. I think we'll see a lot of better things from them coming up in the spring. And finally, swimming and diving at Youngstown State.
I think they'll fall, but it'll be within 16.
Youngstown's a good program, but I actually have pretty much a lot of confidence. I think we struggled against them last year, but I think we get revenge. Both teams win in a close battle. I think they win by 5 or 10 points. I think we'll see a lot of good matchups again from Colin Vest on the men's side and then Kristen Day from the women's side. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Golden Eagles Live here on CUTV. For Anthony Fiuza, our director Alex Kazor, and the rest of our crew, I'm Matt Catrillo. Have an Eagle-tastic night, everybody.